my guest today is none other than Christopher Charles. Christopher, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. You know, Chris, for you guys that don't know, Christopher Charles is one of the top interior designers here in the city of Houston. And he is doing some amazing things, and the designs that I'm actually getting to see from you are simply amazing. I remember, Chris, when you first began designing, you were so excited about it.
Yes.
And you were looking forward to making a certain transition and this, that, and the other. Now, I have to ask you, what was your motivation for even beginning to be an interior designer? What was your motivation for that, Chris?
My motivation for being an interior designer started when I was a child. And I had an aunt and an uncle who kept an impeccable home. Okay. And every time I went to their house, I just felt a certain way. There was a peace of mind. There was a joy to be in that space at their house. And as I became an adult, I always wanted to recreate that as a child, knowing that a beautifully appointed and decorated space could actually change your life. And for me, that's what it did for me. Their space changed my life and made me know and understand that I could have what they had. And it manifested itself in being in love with interior design.
With being in love with interior design. And you know, for those of you that have a dream that you want to follow and pursue, it's important that you're in love with that.
Yes.
Because that ignites passion in you to drive you to make that thing come to pass.
Yes.
And I definitely see the passion that's been ignited in you to make that thing come to pass. You know, Chris, I wanted to reflect a little bit back. I remember your first home. And I remember the various colors that you had in each room. Each room had its own particular color. And I noticed that now in your new home, and we're actually in Chris's home now, so the decor you guys see is certainly a part of that design. You're going to see a little bit more in a moment. But Chris, I noticed this one here, your walls are all solid. What was the reason for that?
I think I've matured as a designer, and as you mature in anything, your style and your taste change, and what's attractive to you and what works for you changes, and what works for the time changes. And in this current space, I've decided to let the artwork and more of the artistic pieces speak for themselves without having to paint the walls. Now that may come. I may paint a wall because I get a little itchy with same color walls. So it may come, but I think as an interior designer, I've matured somewhat, and now my taste has been honed and refined, and I don't have to paint a wall for excitement anymore. It may come. But for now, I'm actually fine with the way that it is right now. I think it reflects where I am right now as a designer.
Yeah, and you know what? In any industry, in any field that we're in, we want to grow.
Yes.
You know, in order to grow, we have to change.
Exactly.
And we have to see things from a different perspective during our process of growth. You know?
Yes.
I remember your first home, and I remember the walls. And this, I think if I remember correctly, each wall had a different color, or each room.
Each room
had a different color.
Yes.
And now we're sitting in your new home, and I see that things have completely changed, and all the walls are actually solid now. And is that just a part of your growth as an interior designer? Is that just a trend right now in the industry?
As an interior designer, it's a part of my maturity. At the old house, I was just itching to paint a wall. But I think in this house, I've allowed the decor to speak for itself instead of painting a wall. It may end up, I may paint a wall later on, but I think now it's just my maturity as a designer. I've decided to leave the color on the wall, one color, and then again, let the decor just kind of speak for itself and the different accents speak for themselves.
So it seems like basically the decor has actually taken place of the walls with the color. Now it's the decor with the color being added to the palette.
Yes, and so that allows the decor to speak more for itself, because in the old houses, you know, the first thing you were hit by was the color on the wall. Although it was well done, it was a lot of color.
It was a lot of color.
But it looked good.
Yeah, it looked great.
But I think for this one, I've just matured as an interior designer. So yeah.
And now not only do you do interior design itself, but you actually do some build outs for change within homes as well, right?
Yes, I do some architectural changes, and also I do staging, which I've added to my repertoire as a designer because of the booming home sales in Houston. So I've added that also.
And I want to ask you, when you talk about staging, how important is staging when you're trying to sell a home?
Staging is very important. when you are trying to sell a home. You want people to imagine them living there, and you want to set the best picture possible. People want to live like stars.
Yeah.
So you want your home to look like a star could live there. So home sales are lost based on staging. If your home is not staged well, you are not going to get a sale no matter how wonderful the price is. If it's not staged well and people can't feel or see themselves there, it'll stay on the market for a while.
Right. And you know what? Speaking of staying on the market for a while, I remember when your home was for sale.
Yes.
And it was actually staged.
Yes.
And it really wasn't staged because it was just what you did anyway.
Exactly.
As an interior designer, and the buyer came in and literally bought the house and everything just as it was,
yes,
if I remember correctly.
Yes. The home sold in 4 days. And after the sale, we walked through the house and they were like, could you leave everything? And this is how much we'll pay you for it. So I was happy about that. Because normally when you do decor for a home, it's for that home. And so a lot of times there's just no need to take it with you. Personal pieces you do want to take with you, but most of the time furniture, couches and stuff, they'll purchase for a specific place and time, and it's for that house. So there was no need to drag it with me. So I just let it stay there.
Let it stay there, and it's sold with the house. How many people do you know that has actually done that? I mean, that is, but it takes an interior designer like yourself for that type of thing to happen, because your design is simply amazing. And had I been in the market for a home, I think I would have went in and said the same thing. Okay, give me the house, everything in it.
Thank you. So hopefully we can do the same thing with this one.
Oh.
If I decide to sell it.
Okay. Who knows? I might be the one ready to buy it. Who knows?
But I have to take my art with me, though.
Oh, no, I want the art.
Not going to happen.
No. And speaking of art, Chris, how important is art to a home?
I think art is extremely important. Art lets you specialize a place and individualize a place for yourself. I am an art fanatic. I consider myself an art collector at this point and stage in my life, and I find it extremely comforting, important to the individuality of the home and the people that live there.
Yeah. And so I guess the thing is, you want your art to be reflective of you as an owner.
Yes, yes you do. In my case, I actually have a piece of art on this wall from my nephew that he did when he was about 5 or 6. Most people can't even point it out, but that's how much I love art. And I think you can take anything, especially if kids do art, you can take that, you can turn that into something really beautiful.
Yes.
If you find the right person to work with you, and they can get that done for you.
And certainly matting and framing plays a huge part in your art pieces standing out and looking good in your home.
Yes. And if you're not careful, that can run you more than the art piece can. So you have to be very careful about matting and having your art framed. It can run to a couple of $1,000s if you're not careful.
Wow, and that's just with matting and framing for a particular image.
Yes.
But when the end result comes out, it's amazing.
It's beautiful because you have to consider glass, where it's going to be placed. If it's going to be in a room where there's a lot of sun, you have to get glass that'll help protect your investment.
Right.
So you can run into some dollars with your art.
We're going to talk a little bit more about that art and a little bit more about what you're doing as an interior designer when we come back in just a moment. You guys stick around. We'll be back with Christopher Charles.
Sky Trues Custom Eyewear has taken the world by storm. In only 8 months, Sky Trues has gained the eyes of many, including celebs like Big Sean, Little Flip, Destiny's Child, Soulja Boy, just to name a few. Through custom design, Sky Trues can put your imagination on your frames. I bring to you the next big thing in Houston, Sky Trues, created by Golden Boy, the musician, the artist, the entrepreneur, and grassroots marketing genius. Be inspired. Sky Trues, custom designed frames. Sky Trues.
All right, welcome back to this edition of the Ferrell Phelps Show, where my wonderful guest today is none other than Mr. Christopher Charles of Christopher Charles Designs. Christopher, thank you so much for allowing me in your home today, man.
Thank you. I'm glad you were able to make it.
Yeah, and again, like I said in the second clip, the home is so nice and eclectic. There's so many nice areas here. I just wanted to get a little bit of everything as best we could. So we've actually changed for the 3rd time. We've never done that on the Ferrell Phelps Show, but we've done it today because there's so much that this home has to offer. I want to ask you too, Chris. You travel a lot. I know you just came back from Paris.
Yes.
Recently. Your second time, I think, going, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes. The first time I went I was in the military and I got lost.
Oh.
And ended up spending the night and having to take a train back to my duty station.
Okay.
So that one wasn't as eventful
As this one that you just had.
as this last one I went to.
Yeah, and I know you've done quite a bit of travel. Is your style in some way influenced by the travel that you've had?
Yes, I think my last visit to Italy. I think that's why you see there's no color on the wall right now. The architecture and the art of Italy, I absolutely loved it. And with no color on the walls, of course, then your art gets to speak. So my travels do influence how my mind wraps around design, because you get to see design from a different point of view, rather than just here in the U.S.
Yeah. And I think it's so important to travel, because the experiences that you gain from travel, the things that you get to see outside of your country and where you are, can definitely influence you. And you just bring it right on back home. Or you can offer it to your clients because you have the knowledge about what life is like, or what furniture is like in Spain or Italy or wherever it is that you may travel to. Now, I want to ask you this. Tell me a little bit more about who Christopher Charles is.
Wow. Christopher Charles is adventurous. As you know, I do public speaking in regards to relationships and self-esteem and self-worth. As I've matured and gotten older, I take life not so serious now. And I think that shows in my choices for design, especially for my own home. But at this age and stage of my life, I'm just looking to live, love, and laugh.
Okay.
And that's it. And embrace my family and my friends.
Yeah.
More completely and wholly.
Okay. Live, love, and laugh.
Yes.
I guess we could call that the 3 L's, huh?
Yes, I think we can.
Okay.
Yes, that
The
would
3 L's: live, love, and laugh. And laughter is so important. And a lot of times we can have joy and laughter when we're surrounded by certain things that we feel warm and fuzzy with, offering our interiors. When people come into our home, that warm, fuzzy feeling that you can get just by being in that home, and what that creates
Exactly.
in itself in those spaces, that's important.
My objective is for when people come to my home, I want them to be transported to somewhere else. I want them to see things, I want them to smell things that they normally wouldn't get in someone else's home. I like that. I like being the person people remember being here. Not only for it being a beautiful space, but for the peace of mind that it brings. And I think for me, it's important when you walk into somebody's space, there should be a smell associated with it. And there should be a sound. And so for me, mine is jazz. I am a serious jazz lover, and I've started to discover jazz as I've gotten older, instrumental jazz and vocal jazz. And so that's what I want you to feel when you come into my space, jazzy. Can I say jazz? Is jazz?
Jazzy. I like that. Yeah. I would say jazz. Hey, this boy's crazy. And that's so interesting, because when you come into a space, what you would like to have there is a certain ambiance.
Yes.
And when you can create that ambiance and that mood within your space, that to me is a successful design.
Yes.
Not only is it the splashes of color here and there, but then you have the sound. You have the smell. So it's like you're catering to the different senses that we have.
Exactly. Yes.
And that's very important.
Yes, because for some homeowners, we actually do create a particular scent for their home through a diffuser or through incense. And so that's what I bring to the table as a designer. We're going to give you the entire experience, even if we have to make you a customized CD of music for your home that you can play when you're entertaining family and friends. So we want to bring that entire experience. So I try to translate what I do in my home. I want to translate that same intensity and care for detail into my client's home.
Wow. And I think that is so important. And actually what you're doing is you're painting a complete picture.
Yes.
You're not just giving one little piece, but you're creating the ambiance, you're giving the sound, you're giving the lighting, because you do lighting as well.
Yes.
And lighting is very important to an interior as well, as you of course know. All those things play a big part in what a person experiences and feels when they come into your domain.
Yes. Lighting creates an ambiance like no other. And I encourage people, get dimmers. Even if you have to do secondhand dimmers, go to the store, add dimmers to your lamps. It can definitely set a mood.
Absolutely.
Whereas maybe music can't set the mood, or a piece of furniture can't, but lighting
Lighting always, yeah. Like if you wanted something romantic, you can have the lights dimmed down. You know, if you want it to be kind of sexy, you can maybe add some splashes of red, because red is one of those colors that ignite a certain feeling within people. And warm tones, oranges and all that kind of stuff tend to lend itself to sexiness. And you can create that you can certainly create that in your ambiance and space, or whatever it is that you want to create in your ambiance and space. You know, I want to ask you one other question, Chris. What is it that you would say to someone out there that wants to do what you are doing as a designer? What type of advice would you give to that person?
I would tell the person to start today. Do it today. Do not wait. I waited until I was a little older, and I felt safe to do it. But now I'm at a stage I have to do it full time.
Take the risk.
Yes, or I will die. And I think if you love something so much, and it's like needing air. If you have a passion for it, like you have for breathing, I think you need to do it. And don't let anyone stand in your way. Don't let people tell you, you know, your point of view isn't acceptable, or it's not in, or you don't have an eye for this or for that. If you have a passion for interior design, go for it. Carve out your niche. Let people know what you're good at, and you stick to that, and you become the best at it.
And you have certainly become the best
Thank you. I
at
appreciate
what you are doing, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, and for any of you guys out there who want an awesome interior designer, Christopher Charles has to be one of the absolute best. Now, Chris, how can a person get in touch with you?
I am on Facebook.
Okay.
Under Christopher Charles Interiors. I am on Instagram under Christopher Charles Interiors.
Okay.
And you can also reach me at www.ChristopherCharlesInteriors.com.
Fantastic.
So hopefully I made it easy for people.
I think you did. Christopher Charles is the key. Christopher Charles on Facebook.
Yes.
And Christopher Charles Interiors. You can't help but to find him on the internet. He's all over the place doing amazing things.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me on this edition of the Ferrell Phelps Show. Now, for more information on the Ferrell Phelps Show, you can certainly hit us up on an email. Let's talk about it 12tv@gmail.com. You can go to our YouTube channel. Simply go to YouTube, type in the name Ferrell Phelps. You'll see a list of all of our shows right there. You can also go to ferrellphelps.com and see some of our latest shows as well. Thank you so much for joining me on this edition of the Ferrell Phelps Show. And until next time, we'll see you then. Woo! What an awesome interview with the amazing Christopher Charles, the designer to the stars. This man is doing it big, y'all. You guys have got to look up Christopher Charles. He's doing amazing things. He's an awesome designer. And I've had such a pleasure of being here today in his beautiful and amazing home. He has so much to look at, so much to absorb. I might have to stay here another couple of hours just to absorb everything that's going on in this house. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this edition. I can't thank you enough. And I can't thank Christopher Charles Designs enough for allowing us into his home and into his space today. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.